All right, welcome back, everybody. Road to Retirement. Tony Marlette Jr. at Brookside Tax and Financial with Tony Shore out in Minnesota. Hello, Tony.
Well, hello to you, Tony. Great to be here with you. Thanks for having me on the show once again. I always enjoy it, talking to you or talking to Chris, and I always learn something every week. I've been good. Last weekend I celebrated my parents' 60th wedding anniversary. Yeah.
Whoa. Congratulations.
Yeah,
What'd you
we
guys
went to
do?
well, we had a little party for them. My mom is in a nursing home. She has Parkinson's, but we had a party. We had cake and balloons, and some of their friends came, and the other residents there were all there, and they provided cupcakes and ice cream. So my parents really enjoyed it, and it was also my dad had just turned 80 years old.
Wow.
So,
All right.
but the 60th wedding anniversary, my dad said 60 years of marriage, 10 years of marital bliss. So
that sounds about right.
and then my mom said they asked my mom, 60 years of happily married, how did you do it? And she just said he was gone a lot.
He's on the road a lot. That's great.
Yep.
I love when my grandma's in an assisted living facility, and I like when we go there and the other residents are there to celebrate a birthday or Christmas or whatever it may be with them. I think it adds to the whole. It gives you the feeling that they're not just there alone, just being warehoused.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. The facility my mom's in is great, and you can get good ones and bad ones. But yeah, she's there, and she gets visitors, and her sister comes to visit all the time. They have a really good staff, so that's a good thing.
Okay, good. Yeah, that is important. We are having some delays. I think you and I talked about this before. We came on. We're having some delays, so we apologize for any audio delays, video delays. We're certainly going to work on that. Hopefully, we're able to get through our information today without any more glitches. So, I thought we could talk about Medicare open enrollment.
So what are we talking about?
And Medicare open enrollment, since we're about a month away, a month to the day almost, October 15th through December 7th, every year is Medicare open enrollment. And there's a lot of misconceptions about what this is and what this is not. So we'll go through some of that. And before we do, we'll mention a code word before the end of the podcast where you can go in on our website, enter it, and enter the code word, and you'll be eligible for a reward from us. And then also go through. I'm not going to go through all the different parts of Medicare. We do that usually on our appointments. The thing that most people are seem to be surprised at is that we do Medicare to begin with. So we have a pretty nice, when I have appointments with clients, we usually have a pretty good presentation, thanks to our friends over at Gradient and Ascentium. Real easy. And the biggest piece of feedback that I've received when we do Medicare appointments with clients is how easy we're able to make it for them.
That's really great. And I'm glad you're able to do that. And I know that having a Medicare specialist there and you have the training and stay up to date on all the changes each year with Medicare, it enables you to help your clients and the people that come in to meet with you make sure that they have what they need as far as healthcare coverage, and make sure they understand all the Medicare benefits and they're taking advantage of them, because you can make a lot of costly mistakes with your healthcare in retirement. And just because you turn 65 and enroll in Medicare doesn't mean healthcare isn't costing you money. And it doesn't mean you also get full coverage for everything. So you've got to be very careful, don't you?
That's a great point. You're absolutely right on that. So that brings me to our first point. When we meet with clients about what they can and can't do with Medicare, Medicare is comprised obviously of Part A, Part B, and to a little bit lesser degree, Part D. we're not going to get into all what that is right now. We usually do that on our appointments, but you're right. You do not have coverage for everything. That's where we come in. So we work with private insurance companies that have Medicare supplemental policies, whether it's an Advantage plan or a Medigap plan and a drug plan, to make sure that your holes are limited. So the fall open enrollment does a couple things. First, it runs from October 15th through December 7th every year. And in that time frame, you're able to make any changes to your supplemental coverage if you have a Medicare Advantage plan. You're able to get enrolled too, but this is not your only enrollment opportunity. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But essentially, you can say if you are on a Medicare Advantage plan and you're not happy with the coverage, not necessarily if you've been diagnosed with something new and you need new coverage, but if you're just not happy with it, this is the time to make changes. Really, it's the only time that you can make changes without going through a lengthy underwriting process. So a lot of times what we'll see people do
you want to avoid that.
Yeah, for sure. You want to Medicare has a lot of time periods where you can get open enrollment without going through underwriting. So what I always tell people to do is look through your plan. And look, I'm not saying to go through all your plan documents and spend the whole afternoon going through this. Quite simply, if your plan is working for you, keep it. You'll know if it's not working for you. If you're getting medical bills and you're having to pay a ton out of pocket, it might be worth it. It will be worth, frankly, looking into a new plan. If your plan's working and your doctor's office visits are covered for the most part, you don't need a referral to see a specialist, or even if you do, it cost is minimal. No sense in getting greedy. Just keep your plan so you can save yourself the time if it's working for you. It also presents a good opportunity and a good.
Yeah, and
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I mean, a big part of this, and maybe you're getting to it, but I always am amazed at what Medicare does not cover, and that's a huge part of this.
Yeah, for sure. People would be surprised. There's really, 80-20 is kind of the standard rule, but you're on the hook for 20%, which can get costly. If you look at an Advantage plan or a Medigap plan, a lot of those plans are designed to fill those gaps, and those are sold by private insurers, and that's who we work with to help you out for your Medicare coverage. So it might also be worth, we mentioned before, looking at your Advantage plan, assuming you have an Advantage plan. There's two types of supplements. There's Medicare Advantage and Medigap. This open enrollment period really does not have anything to do with Medigap. Medigap plans are a little more comprehensive than Advantage plans. Advantage plans usually stick to a network. They could save you some money in some cases. So this is a good time to not only look at your Advantage plan, but also review your drug plan. If your drug plan is not working for you, your Part D pharmacy plan, then it's a good time to switch. You can make changes, and you can even go back onto original Medicare. What a lot of people don't realize when you do an Advantage plan is you're leaving Medicare, but the Advantage plan covers at least what Medicare covers. Even though you're still paying your Part B premiums, you're technically leaving Medicare, going on to an Advantage plan. So in some cases during open enrollment, people decide to leave the Advantage plan, rejoin Medicare, and take it from there.
Interesting. I guess, is there a recommendation? Do you recommend everybody have an Advantage plan, or does it depend on each individual situation?
Yeah, honestly, I think it does depend on everybody's individual situation. Between Medigap and the Advantage plans, I think in general, Medigaps are a lot more flexible. A lot of retirees like to travel. I think a Medigap comes in, it plays better there because a Medigap plan will be accepted by any doctor in the country that accepts Medicare, no matter where you're at. With the Advantage plan, you have to stick to your network. Now, you'll have coverage with an Advantage plan if you're traveling or if you're out of the network in case of an emergency, But say if you spend 2, 3, 4, 6 months of the year in Florida, the rest of your time in Minnesota or Ohio, you're going to have an issue with an Advantage plan. So there are some cases where the Medigap, even though it costs more, makes
Can
a
see
little
where-
bit more sense.
Yeah, I can see where that would be an issue. So you definitely want to take advantage. And this is a good time to sit down and review everything. You know, your traditional Medicare, all the parts, Part A, Part B, like you said, Part D for prescriptions. I know there have been a lot of changes to Medicare in the past couple of years and changes coming next year. So you want to revisit that. And hearing, vision, dental, not covered by standard Medicare. Long-term care typically is not covered by Medicare. So you need to look at those items as well, right?
Absolutely. That's a great point. A lot of times, there are some Advantage plans out there that'll cover things like dental, vision, and hearing, but at the same time, you may lack coverage in other areas. To me, and for a lot of our clients, you'll pay a regular dental plan. Might be $20, $30 a month. Whereas added on to an Advantage plan, and you're probably paying that anyway. So to me, you can take it all in one plan, or try to find it. And some of them will even cover basic things like dental office visits. But you're right, for the most part, not covered in an Advantage plan. And then you mentioned, or Medigap for that matter as well. And then you mentioned long-term care. That's the big one. You get some coverage for skilled nursing, but really, other than that, there's no coverage for long-term care.
Wow. Yeah, that's tough right there. Long-term care is very costly. You need a plan for it. We've done entire shows on just that before.
Yes.
And I know if our listeners have questions about their Medicare coverage, about healthcare costs, how to plan for it if they're not yet in retirement, or if they're in retirement, how to get that review and do that plan review, your Advantage or your Part D plan review. How can they get a hold of you?
They can call us 440-886-3550. Visit us online, brooksidetax.com. Schedule with us. Your consultation will cost you nothing. We go over your options, and then we take a look at everything for you when it comes to that. So really some things here about what open enrollment is not. The open enrollment period is not the only time that you have to enroll in Medicare or an Advantage or a Medigap plan. So an important differentiation, everybody has a special enrollment period when they leave group coverage. So you leave group coverage in January, you don't have to wait until Medicare open enrollment to get into Medicare or to get into an Advantage or a Medigap plan. You have a special enrollment period that will go essentially 7 months, 8 months from January all the way up to September to get in if you qualify. The problem is if you don't enroll in that time, then you have to wait for open enrollment to get on to Part B, and you still pay a penalty anyway.
Wow. Yeah, we want to avoid those penalties, don't we?
Yeah, for sure. And there's actually another. This is the thing with Medicare. There's so many enrollment periods and exceptions and plans, and everything's labeled with a letter. There's a general enrollment period that runs between January 1st and March 31st of every year too, where you can get on Part B if you've missed out on that in the past before. So basically, bottom line in all this is there's plenty of tools to take action. Medicare.gov is an excellent resource. Obviously, at Brookside, we're an excellent resource. Come to us. We can outline everything for you. And then remember, keep in mind too, this is different. Medicare enrollment is different than the fall open enrollment for the exchanges, aka the Affordable Care Act or the federal marketplace. Marketplace is going to be our code word for today. So be sure to go to onestopadvisors.com, put in that code word, onestopadvisors.com/giveaway, put in that code word, and you'll win. So again, code word today is marketplace. but there are plenty of ways to take action on this. Call us. You can request every year. You should get a Medicare and Me package. It's basically a summary plan description that talks about all the changes with Medicare. It's an annual notice of change. So an ANOC notice, which will tell you what's changed, what's updated. Call your agent. And again, it's a great time to go through those plans just to make sure everything's working as intended. Anything else? What do you think? Anything we missed on? Anything that you think we need to let people know of?
No, but they just do it with a financial professional who's a Medicare specialist, and your office can do that. I know you help so many people with this. I encourage our listeners to give you a call at 440-886-3550 and set up. There's a no charge, no obligation consultation you can set up. And again, go to that special website and input today's secret word, which is marketplace.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Tony. Talk to you soon.
All right. See ya.